It's not like this stops in 2030. That's not a magic date. We've got more to do out to 2050 to be able to accommodate all the new demand.
So Christianna, you're just off stage with the current Energy Minister, Michael Shanks. I think that's how he described himself in the opening. What was your key takeaway? What's happening?
Do you know, it was actually really interesting to hear from the Minister. He had a sort of half an announcement about a forthcoming bill that the King is going to be announcing. So he was like very strict about not being able to say too much and steal the words right out the King's mouth. But it sounds as if there's more to come in terms of announcements on how we're going to accelerate delivery of energy security and affordability and what government is going to do to help unlock some of the barriers to that.
And knowing that I was going to be speaking to you straight after, my key takeaway from what he was saying is very much a case of, sounds like you've got an awful lot more work to do. Obviously, you were on stage with him, you were speaking, and he was saying oil and gas, we need to phase it out, sort of continuing the same kind of sentiment that Labour Party's had for a while. Now we're sort of looking to electrify, which means we need to roll out the grid quicker. SSEN Transmission is obviously a key player in that. How much more work do you have to do?
There's loads to come. There's absolutely loads to come. I think what was interesting in what the Minister said was he was acknowledging a role for oil and gas in the now because this is a transition, but also that the real focus is on that continued electrification. He put a lot of emphasis on the delivery out to 2030, which is the clean power targets, but also excitingly spoke about what comes beyond that. It's not like this stops in 2030. That's not a magic date. We've got more to do out to 2050 to be able to accommodate all the new demand that will come from electrification of transport, heat and so on. And we all know our current grid is not at the size that it needs to be able to do that. So we are going to have more exciting investment that's bringing more jobs, more opportunities, more community benefit and more local contracts for companies building this infrastructure for us.
And so when it comes to the rollout of this technology, the new transmission lines and so on and so forth, you are adopting some new approaches as well. It's not just the sort of same idea but more of it. Can you tell me a little bit about the sort of stuff that you're doing that's new?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things we've been really focused on over the last year is the role that our connections projects have in all of this, because it's all very well that we build the big strategic infrastructure, but if nothing's connected to it, then it's still not delivering on the clean power and energy affordability goals. So what we've been thinking is how can we accelerate those local connection works to get the wind farms, batteries and hydros onto the system quicker. And what we've identified is an opportunity to use modular substations. So these are basically like a prefabricated substation that you can build on to an established platform at the location, and it already has in it all of the control systems and all of the equipment that's needed to operate. So you're not having to spend as long on site in the locale. Now that's great because it means you can deliver faster, it's less disruption for local communities, and we actually think it's probably going to be cheaper as well. So really exciting development there, and we're looking to roll that out across quite a few of those connections projects.
And speaking of rolling things out quicker, now obviously there's a consenting process to go through, and we've heard from projects up and down the energy sort of landscape saying that we need to consent quicker, we need to go faster. How are you finding getting projects approved and ready to go?
We've made massive progress on consenting our projects. So we've got to get in total 34 consents across all of our strategic projects, and we've managed to secure consent for 75% of those now already. So really good progress. And that's down to the fact we've worked really closely with the local authorities, with the statutory consultees and with local communities to design and refine these projects in a way to balance all the different needs and asks that are attached to them. We do have a few more still to get. Some of those are in an appeal or a public inquiry process with the Scottish Government, so we hope to have outcomes across all of those by the end of the year, and that means we can get out to site and get into delivery, which is what's going to keep us driving the whole thing forward.